So 2010, you unfortunately go undrafted. Talk about the process from going undrafted to ending up playing for an opportunity for your hometown team, the Warriors.
I mean, that was, I remember when I didn't get drafted, my agent, Roger Montgomery, basically said, look, you have 5 games in Summer League. You either make it happen or you don't. But, if you want to get to the NBA, it's got to be here in the Summer League. And this is where something for me, faith has always been a big part of it. But I was injured, and then, right before the Summer League training camp started, the day before, I got cleared by the doctor. And then on top of that, at that time, I was playing for the Mavs. And they had their last 2 picks for their last 2 years was Roddy Dubois at point guard and Dominique Jones at shooting guard. And so I was kind of just barely getting any time and in practice or in the games. And then all of a sudden in our 4th game, Roddy Dubois got hurt. So that's why I ended up playing the whole 4th quarter. And we were playing against John Wall, who was the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. And that's and I got to go head to head with him and that's the only reason, I had played pretty well. They ended up winning, but that's the reason why I got the contract. And so to come home to Golden State, I mean, you guys know what it's like to play in the Bay. So it was just a different level. It killed me, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it. The anxiety and the pressure, it killed me my rookie year. I didn't know how to handle it, just playing at home and everybody every day just hitting me up or just focused in on what I was going to do, which was nothing my rookie year.
Well, you hit on something that I think is interesting, and now it's obviously more talked about, and we're going to dive in deep into it later, but let's just hit it now. You've gone through some interesting phases in your life where you're at the top of the mountain, drop down, get back to the top of the mountain, fall a little bit, get back up there. You had to seek outside counseling to kind of find out how to manage the ups and downs and everything that came with this. Considering we're in Mental Health Awareness Month right now, talk to us about, that journey and that process and how that's helped you.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me was, I from a young age, I was this crazy bold dreamer. I always had the biggest dreams, the biggest visions, and I would go for it. And then it wasn't, 2 years ago, I went so I had won the championship in Toronto. And then that offseason, I didn't get a contract. And so I went overseas to play in China. When I went to China, I was the guy in terms of the LeBron or the Steph of that league in the CBA. And I had the ball in my hands and everything. And even though I was playing well, we were on one of the top teams, and everything looked good on paper, in my mind, I was just I was scared. And I was where is this stuff coming from? I was sometimes in the 4th quarter, I would be oh no, I hope that I don't shoot the last shot because what happens if I miss? Or, I hope the coach doesn't put me in because, what happens if I lose a game or the pressure. And I was just what is going on with me? And this was coming off of 2 straight years of injury in Brooklyn when I had the perfect opportunity. I was a starting player. I was, considered the franchise player. I was in Kenny Atkinson's system. It was everything that I felt like I was supposed to continue with the New York Knicks. And then I ended up getting 2 straight seasons of injury. And what I didn't realize, I recovered physically, but I didn't recover mentally.
Yeah.
And so I started to think everything is just a setup for a disappointment. Every situation is going to end terribly and I couldn't process what was happening with me or what had happened to me. And so I got outside help to work through a lot of my traumas. I actually got to a point where I reconciled with a lot of people. I started making calls to all the people that I felt hurt me, coaches, general managers, former players. Some of them hit me back. Some of them didn't hit me back, but the ones that didn't, I had I had to visualize, that was one of the things. I had to visualize the reconciliation, what it would look like, what it would sound like. And he kept telling me, you have to get beyond your past if you want to get to where you want to get to in your future. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing for why, for me in the G League, why I shot career highs and everything, why I was top in the league is in all these things. I had done a bunch of things I never did before was because I had been freed mentally, and it was a long process. I mean, it was a journey. It was a tough process.
Well, it's crazy to think about it because obviously when you went on your run and kind of made your mark in the NBA, you were hitting game winners at Madison Square Garden. You were doing all the biggest things that everyone dreams of, but then fast forward to a situation and it kind of sounds like injuries played a part. Injuries put a lot of doubt in your mind. So now you're in the Chinese league trying to get back and you're doubting yourself, obviously, when you're one of the best players over there. So that's how powerful the mind is. It's kind of crazy sometimes.
Growing up, one of my coaches always told me, he played professional baseball, and he told me the game is 90% mental. And I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. But I realized at the elite level, at the professional level, like everybody has the skills. It's like the dude who can shoot 7 times and miss all 7 and not care and shoot the 8th. Like, that's the guy who is different than the guy who misses his first 3 and then like is like, oh, I'm playing it safe from here. Like there's so much in the mind I couldn't even begin to go into. You guys all know, but for everybody else who may listen, it's like there's so much power in the mind.
It's crazy too because I've been coaching my kids since I retired, so I got them at like 8, just turning 9, and now they're 12, and that's what I'm trying to instill. Like the most important is next. The mind is the most important thing. Like it's because that shit is powerful, and it's never really been discussed, but it's always kind of been known. And now, like I said, I love the fact that people are talking about it because these conversations obviously help the people we talk to, but then are also going to encourage and motivate other people to seek the help they need if necessary. So I think they're obviously very important. But back to this, the Warrior opportunity. What did that Warrior opportunity, outside of stress you had a lot of your rookie year, kind of set you up to do, though?
It made me believe it made me believe I could do it. And I remember right when the season ended, at that time, we didn't know it was going to turn into a documentary. It was just going to be this little YouTube thing. And at the end of that season, we're going to the lockout. And so I was like, oh, there's going to be a ton of time. We'll start filming a little YouTube thing. And in that YouTube, like after the season, I sat down and I said straight to the camera, and it's now in my documentary, but I said, like, I'm going to become a rotation player. I'm going to be a starting point guard, and then I'm going to win a championship. And even though I played terrible, like the one thing for me that I've always, like, I've never come in, and maybe it's an Asian thing in terms of how I was raised. Maybe it was always coming in and just being like completely disrespected growing up as an Asian. Like no one ever wanted to hoop with me. No one ever wanted to choose me. No one ever thought anything of me. But I always walked into situations trying to feel it out. I never came into a situation being like, I'm about to destroy all these guys. And so I came into the NBA and I was like, I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to see if I belong. And that's the last thing you can do when you get to the NBA. If you're wondering whether you belong, it's over for you.
It's too late.
And so for me, my rookie year, the biggest thing it taught me was I was like, you know what? I took a year to feel it out. I went down to the D League at that time. I killed in the D League like, oh, I'm doing it. I can do it. And that's what it taught me, but I didn't get to show it.